Hi everyone, welcome to MDS Conquer online finish line course. For the first MDS students, paper 1 regarding the orthodontic subject, I myself Dr. Satyusha Sri, consultant orthodontist, team MDS Conquer, going to discuss about cleft lip and palate. Cleft lip and palate question can be asked as an essay question and also 7 marks question, but the concepts included like classification, etiology, and sometimes the treatment aspect like clinical features of repaired and unrepaired cases, that is the treated and untreated cases of the cleft lip and palate can be asked as questions. So the concepts are included in this description, and this video will describe only the classification, etiology and clinical features, and the treatment aspect is described in the following video. And the previous videos I described about the prenatal development of the maxilla, which include the development of the palate, and the palate, mainly the primary palate and the secondary palate is also described. And in the development of the early phase, I have described the formation of the globular process, medial nasal process and lateral nasal process. So the upper lip, especially the primary palate and the philtrum of the lip, and the upper lip is formed by the maxillary process and fusion with the medial nasal process. So the cleft lip, if any factor disturbing the fusion of the maxillary process and the medial nasal process may lead to cleft lip, and any disturbance in the formation or the fusion of the palatal shells will lead to cleft palate. So you have to write the embryology concept, and later we are moving to the classification. I'm just mentioning the names which classifications to be included if it is an essay question or a 7 marks question. Make sure to include each and every classification which I'm including in this video. So the classifications mainly by view given as morphological classifications, that is depending upon the location of the cleft lip and palate. And Carhans and Stark Spina included the embryological classification, that is depending upon the tissue or depending upon the embryological stage at which the cleft lip and palate formation has occurred, they classified into embryological classifications. So here is the Davis and Rich classification depending upon the cleft lip location according to the alveolar process. And here is the view classification depending upon the morphological position of the cleft lip. And here is the Fogg and Anderson classification. This is the classification of only the cleft lip. Carhans and Stark classification, it is depending upon the position of the location of the cleft lip in and around the incisor foramen. So this classification, Harkin's classification, this is also the classification of the primary palate, cleft palate alone. And Spina's classification, this is also basing upon the position of pre-incisive foramen. And Dizer's classification, orofacial clefts are classified like unilateral or bilateral or complete or incomplete. And Shudart and Pfeiffer's symbolic classification, this is the diagrammatic representation of the cleft lip and cleft palate. And this is a mnemonic type of classification, Lachal classification. If we expand the Lachal, the position where the cleft is present is described. And next we are moving to the etiology of the classification. Mainly the cleft lip and palate occur because of the hereditary changes or the gene defects and the local factors and the environmental factors. Coming to the hereditary changes, it is mainly of single gene disorder or polygenic or multifactorial disorder, and it is more disposition of cleft lip is more, that is of 40%, while cleft palate is of 18 to 20%. And because of the chromosomal abnormalities like in Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome and trisomy D and E, these chromosomal abnormalities may also include cleft lip and palate. Not necessarily all the Down syndrome patients will have a cleft lip and palate. And coming to these other syndromes where autosomal dominant, and these are autosomal recessive syndromes, and you have to mention all the syndromes which are in which the cleft lip and palate exists. And coming to the local factors, this is very important because of the defect in the fusion of the palatal shelves or defect in the fusion of the palatal shelves with other structures. It leads to cleft palate. So failure of the head to elevate and become erect at the 7th to 9th week, and failure of the tongue to descend, and also the deficiency of the oxygen are the local factors which are causing the cleft palate. And also the consumption, environmental factors include the factors which are in which the in pregnancy affecting the fetus, like ethyl alcohol, or environmental heterogeneous factors like ethyl alcohol called fetal alcohol syndrome cause cleft lip and palate, and cigarette smoking and anti-seizure drugs taking also will cause cleft lip and palate. So malnutrition like hypervitaminosis and folic acid deficiency and anemia also results in cleft lip and palate, and any infections during the pregnancy like rubella infection, and also the parental age. If the woman is above the age of 35 degrees, there is a double risk of having a child with cleft lip and palate. And consanguineous marriages also increases the risk in the cleft lip and palate. And next we are moving to the clinical features. So we have to mention the facial growth in the cleft lip and palate like prenatally, how it is present. So because the features are present on the non-cleft side will pull the cleft side. So there will be pull of the lip and cheek muscles, tongue pressure, relatively unstrained nasal septum growth will be present. And on the cleft side, intrinsic deficiency presence of LR base due to stretching of the nostril will present. So you have to mention the features on the cleft side and the non-cleft side. And this is the comparison, it is not a comparison, sorry. This is the clinical features where complete unilateral cleft lip and palate is present and bilateral cleft lip and palate is present. And facial growth in the unrepaired cleft lip and palate. Here are some articles describing that there are no changes in a patient where repair was done in an early age and repair was not done in an early age. So, if the unrepaired cleft lip and palate is present also, they are not showing any significant difference in the overall size of the maxilla with the operated ones. And you have to mention this article or the names here so that it will be of greater impact on your answer. So I just mentioned the authors and their respective results regarding their studies. And facial growth after surgical repair. This is the one question I have come across depending upon the clinical features of treated and untreated cases. So effect of the lip repair and Hayashi et al. Growth of the maxilla in the repaired cleft lip and palate tends to reduce in all the plane of spaces. So whenever we are doing a surgical treatment for the cleft lip and palate to repair, it is showing its effect on normal growth and development of the maxilla. So hypoplastic maxilla is present whenever the patient is treated at early ages, and later the treatment for the hypoplastic maxilla like expansion and all surgical repairs are to be done in the adult stage. So the other problems associated with the clefts include the dental and aesthetic problems, hearing and the speech, and psychological problems are also included as because everyone will be seeing them, and the questions regarding all the necessary factors influencing their cleft lip and palate, everything, and the parents will also have a psychological disturbance which may be transferred to the children. So these will include your essay question regarding the classification, etiology and clinical features. Thank you.